I think. Was my mic even on? There it is. Beanie, 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 beanie. We're live, fools. We're live. Of course we're live. We're live just as I'm looking at the Flash's Rotten Tomatoes score at 69. That's how you know it's a great movie. Because it has the magic number. 69. Alright. There we go. Wait, I'm naked. No! No! This comic that I have that I actually abuse already because I leave it in my backpack. Hitomi. Boom. Really cool book, by the way. I'm actually gonna do like a... I'm thinking of doing something with it. Michael Bay's Lobo. Do I look like Michael Bay's Lobo? Jesus Christ. I mean... Thank you. If Michael Bay ever made a Superman movie... In fact, Michael Bay almost did make a Superman movie. Weird to think about. What a timeline that would have been if that actually came to fruition. But instead we got Bussy Swinger and making Superman Returns. So, you know, that's cool. That's cool. That's cool. Cool. Not a great movie. In fact, I don't think Michael Bay would have used Lobo. I don't think Michael Bay reads superhero comics like that. I think he'd probably just go for like a safe bet, like General Zod or something. We're finally talking comics? Absolutely, Arcus. I mean, we gonna talk comics regardless of what we doing. But, yeah, I was gonna make another poll. What's up, Tevya? Seeing if people wanted to, like, see more Spider-Man gameplay. But, like, this would have been, like, the third week in a row doing that. And, like, nah. I already got, like, 800 million Spider-Man videos that I have in the queue that I have to do, and I've already done like 1 million Spider-Man videos already these past couple days. So like, I'm not trying to change my name to the Mary Jane Watson Beanie channel, because all I do on this channel is Spider-Man. I want to do some other characters. You're still wrong about All-Star Batman and Robin. Well, Josiah, it's okay that you have a wrong opinion, but All-Star Batman and Robin the Boy Wonder is one of the greatest comics of all time, and I'm going to stand by that in my... Actually, that wasn't that bad. I'm being dramatic. That was that. Great comic. 10 out of 10. Rate 8.8. I swear to God, it's not bait. Hitomi, is she the spin-off sister of Naomi? I mean, if the Amazons are Japanese, but no, Hitomi is, it's a samurai comic, or really a Ronin comic, about, well, this little peasant girl named Hitomi, and she's trying to find this legendary black samurai, because he ended up killing her entire family when she was a baby, and she wants revenge. But her form of revenge is training under him, and then ultimately using all the skills that he's given her against him as like the ultimate form of revenge. It's a really cool comic book. I really liked it. It kind of scratched that like Yasuke itch that the show I thought was gonna scratch, but didn't, because they decided to have robots and time travel and guns in it, and I didn't see the vision. Crafted by an artist, and I didn't get it. I just didn't get it. But soundtrack is dope. You know, I'll say that. Actually, what was Oh man, he's the dude who also did the Dragon Ball Z do-rag song. Um, Get close to you, do you love me in my do-rag? Why am I thinking of his name? He also did that song "Them Changes." Oh, it's Thundercat. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So Thundercat did the. Yeah, he did the soundtrack for that show. So at least the soundtrack is amazing. All-Star Batman and Robin is bad. I believe you are incorrect in that assessment, Tevye, but I respect your opinion. Michael Bay's Superman, quote, "You'll believe a man can save the entire city." That's nicer than what I was thinking. I would think that it would be, "You'll believe an alien can overcome being illegal," or something off-color and racist. That's like the weird thing about the Michael Bay Transformers movies. They're like horribly, offensively racist, but the racism is funny. So like I'm at a crossroads where it's like, okay, this is terrible and bad, but it's like, you ever like see something so racist you're just like, well, goddamn, that's just funny at this point. It's like when you read that what was it? It was the What If Miles Morales, where Miles Morales becomes Thor, and he's saying all these like really, just, I almost said the R word, but he's saying all these like really dumb, just like, it's hammer time. Look at me rhyming, because Asgard is the hood now that black people are in it. Like, I know not some people, I know a lot of people got like heated. They were so mad. I was just reading that book laughing my ass off, because it was just sometimes it's just so blind where you're like, this is so racist, I don't even think the person who was writing it realized it was racist. So that's what makes it funny to me. I don't know. I thought it was hilarious. The exaggerated swagger of an Asgardian. Oh yeah. Question: do you believe the Amazing Spider-Man is beyond saving? No, I don't. No, I mean, you ask this all the time, Tevye. It's not beyond saving. I don't think any character is really beyond saving. I think literally the best thing that you can do is just cut the umbilical cord, new creative team, start fresh, tell a good story. Once you start telling good stories, people just kind of forget about all the other crap. A lot of it just gets memory hold. Like, after JMS took over Amazing Spider-Man, do you think people remembered that there was a whole arc where Peter's robot parents were walking around, and all the weird stuff where, like, MJ was in a plane crash, but not really, because it wasn't really MJ, and she was actually being held in, like, an underground bunker by one of her stalker super fans? No, nobody remembers that crap. Because JMS made them forget with really good storytelling. So all you gotta do is just come on in with a banger-ass pitch and a banger-ass story. You know? Have some good concepts and execute them well. Or, in some cases, as J. Michael Straczynski brilliantly showed us, have some abhorrently dog shit concepts and execute them confusingly perfectly, to where I totally am okay with, like, weird spider totems and, like, the weird roid rage gamma corpse. I don't know, like, if you actually sit someone down and explain to them J. Michael Straczynski and John Romita Jr.'s run on The Amazing Spider-Man, it just sounds like the most fever dream bullshit. but when you sit down and actually read it for yourself, it's amazing. It's amazing. It's spectacular. It's sensational. It's web of. It's all of it. It's great. It's all the Spider-Man. Yo, what's good, Supreme? How we living? By Odin's Fade, yo. Ooh, just Shamik Moore needs to get that like tattooed on his forehead. So every time he looks at Haley Steinfeld, all she has to do is like focus on the tattoo instead of the fact that he has no riz. My God, man, he's trying really hard, but he's expertly failing the Spider-Man shacking up with your female co-star rule. Like it, Toby was able to do it with Kirsten. People forget about that, but he's able to do it. Andrew was able to do it with Emma Stone. I mean, they fumbled the bag on that one, but they were able to do it. You know, so far Tom Holland and Zendaya are they're holding strong. They're holding down the fort. Shamik, man, he just oh my god, bro, stop. Oh my god, it's so painful. Like Jesus Christ. Somebody get this man a cup of Riz, cause Haley. Nah, bro. He could be a good Miles Morales Thor. Like, unironically, I'd love to see that. What's the point of the What If Miles Morales series? Spider-Verse is popular, so Marvel has to milk that character. On your Spider-Verse 2 vid, it made me dislike the film more. Oh, man. Because there's one plot hole. Would MC2 Mayday Parker and renew your vows, Peter, except Miguel's belief? Absolutely not. And that was my big problem with the movie. It's funny, a buddy of mine from my local comic shop came in, and I mean, I was just kind of going like, yeah, no, this is the problem with the movie. I mean, he just kind of said, like, you hate everything this Spider-Man related that's not in the comics. And I was like, that's not really true. But he also gets, like, really sensitive when I critique Marvel. He has no problem when I bash DC comics at all. Or DC anything. But, like, when I bash Marvel, he's like, nah! Or even just have, like criticisms of Marvel, he gets all, like, yeah. So, I don't know. But yeah, that was my biggest thing. The whole like Spider Society, Spider Cult. I didn't like that aspect of the movie. I think it works wonderfully if you're using like the Council of Reeds. It works with the Council of Reeds, or if you're gonna have a whole like Spider Society and you have, you know, a whole army of spider people, if you have to make it that big and you have to, you know, go full on Spider-Verse with it, why not just invent some spider people or like some new spider people, or actually just deep dive, since you're already doing a deep dive, pull out some of the already established morally ambiguous Spider-Men and have them take on that role of, no, we're here because Uncle Ben, he died, and everyone close to us died. Therefore, death is good. Death makes Spider-Man operate. Spider-Man is the body without organs. The body without organs operates off of death. Spider-Man can be whatever he needs to be, laterally. I'm butchering Foucault right there. Wait, no, that's not Foucault. That's Deleuze. They're both French. But yeah, no, like I feel like if you're gonna do that with Spider-Man, you just use more morally ambiguous spider people in the multiverse. Don't take Spectacular Spider-Man, which is like, this is the last time we're ever gonna see that version of that character probably, and throw him under the bus by having him tell Miles he has to watch his father die. Like, don't do that. Don't take Peter B. Parker, who's this character I really loved in the last movie, and A, make him Homer Simpson, and B, also throw him under the bus and say, haha, look at this baby I have. She's technically an anomaly, just like you. That's why you have to let your father die. I let MJ die. That was the sacrifice to keep my universe from collapse. It's very weird. I didn't like it. That's when the whole thing kind of broke down to me. But it's hard to judge the movie because we haven't seen part 3 yet. Like, Beyond the Spider-Verse, I think, is going to be the movie that makes or breaks Across the Spider-Verse. So, we'll see what Beyond the Spider-Verse does, and hopefully, fingers crossed, let me try, fingers crossed, it works out and justifies all the stuff I didn't like about Across the Spider-Verse. That said, regardless of, the quality of storytelling or whatever, in terms of animation, in terms of voice acting, technical marvel, it's beautiful. I walked out of that theater going yeah, we don't need live action superhero movies after this. We really don't. You can disagree with me all you want, but you're wrong. My light schizophrenic. It's his fault, not mine. But yeah, no, we don't need live action superhero movies anymore. Just Across the Spider-Verse proved that, I think. Yeah, I mean, hopefully we get more animated superhero theatrical releases. I still maintain that DC doesn't have to do anything in live action. Actually, I don't think I've said that on stream before. Well, this is my first time saying it on stream. I don't think DC really has to, if they want to compete with Marvel, they don't have to go in a live action direction. You really don't. You really don't. What I think DC could do is take Superman, for example. All right. I'm just grabbing Superman because he is DC Comics. But yeah, take Superman and throw him in. I don't know, like have Madhouse or I mean, Studio Ghibli probably wouldn't do it, but I don't know, get a prominent, popular, well-respected Japanese animation studio to make a Superman anime. Make it between an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours long, or however long the story has to be. But dog, just make a balls to the wall, just Silver Age looking, pure imagination Superman animated feature, and put that out. And then make a glorious Batman animated feature. Make a Green Arrow animated feature. Make a Teen Titans animated feature. Just go full on. Just if Marvel's got the live action, you double down on animation. Show what animation can do. I don't know why DC didn't do that. I don't know why DC doesn't do that. I don't know. That said, I am really excited that Superman's getting another animated series for the first time in not 20 years. Everyone keeps saying that. Superman the Animated Series is not the last animated Superman show. People keep sleeping on Legion of Superheroes. Why do you do that? Why are you booing me? You know I'm right. Legion of Superheroes was amazing, and I don't know why people just kind of skip it. It was a great Superman show. It was the best version of Smallville that we had on TV at the time, as Smallville was coming out. Question, well, but what if Marvel editorial destroyed Peter Parker's Spider-Man book again? Well then, it'll get broken for like another 5 to 10 years, and then a new creative team will come on and they'll fix it, and then someone else will break it. That's just kind of what Spider-Man's been for the past like 30 years. It'd be like that. Arcus says, well, it was intentional on Bay's part. He wanted to focus on action, so he oversimplified his characters to archetypes and stereotypes so that they would still be memorable because they they're all like that in their movies. That's true. Does Michael Bay write his own scripts? I'm curious about that. Does Michael Bay write his own scripts? No, I think Orci and yeah, Roberto Orci and Alex Kurtzman wrote the Transformers movies. They also wrote the Amazing Spider-Man 2. So, yeah, that explains that. I love that movie to death, but like, yeah, it's kind of indefensible. Even though I think it's like the most coherent thing they've ever written, which is really saying something. 1610 Man says fan service, soft reboots, the things that old audience like happened for sure, but the things they didn't like didn't happen. That's where headcanon comes in. Headcanon's important for that kind of stuff. You just gotta go like, it didn't happen. Like for me personally, when I think of Spider-Man, everything up until Civil War happened, and then after that, Peter and MJ, they settled down, and Peter stopped being Spider-Man, and now we have a clone running around as Spider-Man. Yep, that's that's my headcanon. It makes no sense at all, but like it just is what it is. Personally love Spider-Verse 2 10 times better than the current comics. I mean, yeah, but that's like not a high bar. That's like, hey, what's better? Having, getting sounded by a soldering iron, or having your face bashed into like a concrete block. Neither one of those are good. Actually, no, that was a terrible analogy. Why did I say that? Spider-Verse is actually really good. What am I talking about? I'm just being dramatic. I just didn't like the whole Spider Society stuff. The movie's actually really good. I'm just being dramatic. Pretend they got a good Spider-Man in the movies. And yeah, that's true. Twitter talk. Spider-Verse 2. Did it ruin Spectacular Spider-Man? Kinda. We may see Spectacular Spider-Man in Part 3. Hopefully. Plus Miguel could be wrong. Well, that's the thing. If Miguel is wrong, then like, this movie just threw him under the bus completely. That's my big problem with it. Actually, we're doing all the Spider-Man talk. First things first. Major loss to comics. Not today, I think it was yesterday. But major loss in the form of John Romita Sr. passing away. Dude was 93. 93. So, I mean, it's one of those things where it's like, it's sad, but like, you lived a really nice life. Or at the very least, you lived a nice, long life. I'll put it that way. But wow, what a legend. It's so funny. I saw a post in, or not a post. I saw a response to one of my posts from, I think it was Cytonius from Omniframe. Really great channel. Check him out. But I think Cytonius, or it might have been Troy. Either way, Omniframe commented on my I guess you could say like my eulogy for John Romita Sr., saying that without Romita, Spider-Man would not be what the character is today. And that's like 113,000,000% accurate. I don't think anyone can undersell just how pivotal Romita Sr.'s contribution to Spider-Man was. Because here's the thing with Spider-Man. When Spider-Man was created by Stan Lee and Steve Ditko, really Steve Ditko and Stan Lee, but when Spider-Man was created by Steve Ditko and Stan Lee in the early 60s, he was a character he was wound really tight. You know, he's a character that was just a ball of insecurity and resentment and anger and angst. And it's kind of perfect that Steve left the book when he did. Because Steve Ditko leaves the book just as Peter Parker is going to college. And when John Romita comes onto the book, John Romita is a classic, he's a classic romance comics artist. So his whole thing was, look, I respect, you know, Spider-Man, you know, angst, anger, you know, the schism between the classes, you know, proletariat, the bourgeois, blah blah blah. I'm trying to draw some titties though. I'm trying to draw some beautiful women and some really attractive men hanging out with beautiful women. That's my whole thing. That's what I was doing in the 40s. That's what I was doing in the 50s. That's what I'm trying to do here with Spider-Man. And it really opened up the character. And, I mean, the foundation of, like, Peter being an angsty, angry guy was still kind of there. But, like, he kind of opened up through Romita's artistic lens and narrative storytelling. Which is, like, weirdly perfect because it reflects real life in that way. Not for everybody, but there are definitely a lot of people in the world who go through high school and they are these very isolated, very lonely, very bitter because they're lonely kind of souls that are just kind of running off of resentment and anger and angst. But by the time they get to high school, no, not high school, by the time they get to college and graduate high school, a lot of just, like, the superficial stuff that they're, like, freaking out about, you know, like, oh my god, who's going to prom? Oh my god, I got an A on my exam, but I didn't get a chance to talk to Sally. Oh my god. Like, all that stuff just kind of goes away because you start to worry about more real world problems, like, oh my god, my parents are getting old and I'm getting old, and oh my god, what's going to happen to them when I'm not there? What's going to happen to me when they die? Because you start thinking about mortality more, because now you have to think about self-preservation, because you're an adult in the real world, and you have to get a job, and you also have to balance, you know, college, if you're going to college, and college is expensive, and your mind just starts thinking about different things. So, like, some of the superficial stuff just kind of goes away, at least in your mind, and you start to build this confidence, because you're not really hung up on the little stuff anymore. So, like, you start finding yourself, and then that confidence just attracts a whole new crew of people. It's college, you know, it's college. And, I mean, I'm not projecting at all when I say that, but, like, it's college. And John Romita brought that energy to Spider-Man. You know, he took Peter out of a lot of that, like, bitter teenage angst and resentment, and, like, put him into, like, an adult kind of, like, more mature setting. And I think if you ask anybody who was working on Spider-Man at the time, they probably say that's like a happy accident, but it worked out wonderfully. Like, I don't think you can undersell how well that worked, and how well the companion pieces, because I view them as companion pieces, the Ditko run and the Romita run lay the groundwork for the character moving forward. So I don't have anything to drink here, but I guess I'll just grab this hand sanitizer and say, to you, John Romita Sr., to you and your contributions to the character of Spider-Man, and pour one out for the homies, and bottoms up. You thought I was gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not Archer or an alcoholic. But you know, symbolically. Just, I actually do need water. Fuck. Nah, it's in the kitchen. I don't feel like going to the kitchen right now. But yeah, no. John Romita is an amazing talent, you know, and legends die. Or I guess much rather, men die, but legends don't die. And John Romita's legend, I think, is gonna outlive us all. So, yeah. That's me being optimistic Debbie Upper. I think. I hope. I tried to be. Michael Bay's Spider-Verse into the Spider-War Criminal-Verse. So just that movie, I guess. Question, what about other Super Sons animated movies? Because I would love that. That'd be cool too if Jeremy Adams wants to write them, and they'd have to like up the animation quality for those movies, definitely. But yeah, I'd be down with that. Throw those in the theater. That'd be awesome. Supreme Omega says on DC for the past decade, are you tired of DC always adapting Barry Allen? Yes. Sorry, I'll let you finish. And Flashpoint. Yes. Yeah. Sorry, I'll let you finish again. And so many films and TV shows. I'll let you finish. Why not Wally? Yeah. And other Flash comic book storylines. A large part of it just kind of comes down to the fact that Wally. So much of Wally's character growth comes from him being a former sidekick. You can't just jump Wally into being the Flash. That is. I mean, you can. Actually, now that I say that, I honestly do think you can. But you'd have to like have that baggage of the Barry Allen era. And I just don't think anyone's really gonna like do anything about that. Without it being dumb. There was a David Goyer script, I think, for the Flash, which I think that Flash movie was supposed to come out like in the mid-2000s, where Barry Allen dies and Wally West stumbles across Barry Allen's notes and winds up becoming the Flash. Like, he gives himself Flash powers and then he solves Barry's murder. I think that's a cool way to do it. You know, you establish the Flash as a hero who has already existed, and then he dies, and then Barry just takes up the mantle. Although at this point, I think a lot of people would just kind of watch that and they'd scratch their heads and go like, didn't Spider-Verse already do this? Isn't that just Miles Morales' origin story? But I don't know. I think it'd be cool to adapt Wally West. He's my favorite Flash. And I'm honestly not just saying that because I love the animated series. Like the Justice League animated series version of the Flash is really cool, but he is a different take on that character. But it's kind of weird. Like the DC animated universe version of Flash has just kind of become the default version of the character in pop culture. Like even Barry Allen in Justice League. And from what I'm hearing, the Andy, I almost said Andy Mussolini, Andy Muschietti, Flash movie, is basically just live action DCAU Wally West. So, I don't know, it's just kind of weird that that's just the default setting for that character now, but you know, it is what it is. I do hope James Gunn in the DCU changes that. Please, I hope that changes. Give Superman to Unfoldable. Is that a porn thing? I feel like it's a porn thing. I'm gonna look this up, and if it turns out to be a porn thing, I'm gonna be not angry, not even disappointed. Just Let's see. What have they done? No, they've only been around for like 23 years. I don't know what that is. Dalkida, I don't know what that is. Ninja Nonsense, I don't know what that is. Futuk, I don't know what that is. That looks like a weird... That looks like hentai. That looks like hentai. I'm sorry, it looks like hentai. Coyote Ragtime Show, I don't know what that is. Galkin, oh, that's straight up hentai. Oh, Fate Zero. Oh, these are Fate... Oh, okay, so these are the Fate Zero guys. Interesting. Oh, they also did Demon Slayer. Oh, and God Eater. Okay. Oh, alright. Actually, yeah, no. Yeah. Unfoldable would be perfect for Superman. Yeah, no, you're right. No, you're absolutely right. That was like a perfect choice. Alright, Arcus. You get the... You get the drink now from the CVS hand sanitizer cup. All you, bud. Toby says, technically, we are getting that with My Adventures of Superman, the animated show. Yeah, it does look like weeb trash, but in the best way possible. I'm excited for it. I've wanted a weeb trash Superman show forever. I've wanted weeb trash for like DC in general. Okay. I am of the opinion, like unironically, I think DC characters would be adapted to anime perfectly. I think they fit better than anyone really kind of like thinks they would. I don't know. But after watching My Hero Academia, after watching One Punch Man, it just kind of hit me like, yeah, why the fuck don't we have a DC anime? Like even like half the New 52 era DC animated movies, they looked like anime, especially in the fights. Dude, the Superman Doomsday fight in Death of Superman, that's Nomu versus All Might. Well, with death and more blood and gore. But yeah, no, DC, get on it. Make more anime. Dude, what I would not do. Well, I wouldn't do a lot of things. I love Green Arrow, but I don't think I'd do a lot of things. But, dude, someone just adapt the Jeff Lemire and Andreas Sorrentino run of Green Arrow. That was like a perfect just season 1 of a TV show right there. And then go into the Benjamin Percy run. It's right there. I don't know why. It's just so frustrating because Invincible already proved this, and it's something that not just me but like other comic book fans have been saying for a long time. Use the manga model. You know, just like if manga is adapting like story arcs, sometimes adapting arcs like that are running like 10, 20, 30, 40 years. Like Berserk in some cases, Berserk's been going for like close to 40 years now. They're still adapting Berserk. I mean, they do it by arcs. They adapt certain arcs, but like, yeah, man, just why not do that with like your your DC characters. Like, why not have a? I don't know why you don't have a Green Arrow TV show that's just Longbow Hunters. Why not make a Wonder Woman TV show adapting the Brian Azzarello, Cliff Chang, New 52 Wonder Woman series, which I honestly think would be perfect for an animated like series. It's only like what, 26 issues? That's like the perfect. That is like the perfect like episode count if you're going off of like, you know, for every page that's 1 minute of, you know, whatever animation time. Yeah, no, just do that. I don't know why people are I think it's simple. Maybe I'm just being the simpleton, but I think it's a very simple. It's a very 2 + 2 = fish. Like, come on, man, it's so easy. It's right there. Titmouse presents Superman anime. Titmouse. Is that a? It was Titmouse. I don't. What? Yeah. Titmouse Studios. Oh, it's like a real animation studio. Let's see. What have they done? Oh, Venture Brothers? Beavis and Butthead? Oh, yeah. Titmouse would be, like, unironically, Titmouse would be really good for, like, Justice League International. I mean, I don't even really like Justice League International like that, but, like, yeah, they'd be great for Justice League International. They'd be really good for, like, a Blue Beetle and Booster Gold show. Like, possibilities. Endless. Choosing not to do it is the crazy thing, in my opinion. Give us Superman Family animated series because that would be awesome. Well, they almost did, but the Harley Quinn show beat it out. I could have phrased that better, but I'm gonna keep going. I love that Legion show. It was underrated. Yeah, I know. I'm glad it's on. I almost said HBO Max. I guess it's just Max now. But I'm glad it's on Max. It's a really fun show. I don't even like the Legion of Superheroes like that either. But yeah, the show's like really entertaining and it won me over on it. Also, Superman X was really cool. He was really dope. He was so dope that he basically just became the foundation for Superboy and Young Justice. It's a shame that Spider-Verse 2 is Miguel's big mainstream debut, and he's a villain. Because with lesser known characters like Miguel O'Hara, they tend to get screwed if their adaptation is not good. That's another big thing with me with Spider-Verse. Just taking characters, throwing them under the bus. This is the world's like. Well, it's weird. I wouldn't even consider this to be the world's first introduction to Miguel. I would have considered Shattered Dimensions to be the world's first major introduction to Miguel, which was also not great. I just don't know why it does that, but it just is what it is. But yeah, like that game. It's really fun, but like the way Miguel is written, he's just not really Miguel. I don't know what they were doing with that character there, but it's not Miguel. But yeah, that was like a whole generation's introduction to Miguel as a character, and yeah, not great. And then nobody played Edge of Time, so it didn't matter. But now this is a big major movie, and everyone's introduction to Miguel is. I'm seeing like so many posts of people going like Miguel's just racist, and like Miguel is a bad guy because he doesn't think Miles belongs, and that's why Miles is the good Spider-Man and Miguel's the bad Spider-Man. And I'm like, oh my god. Oh no. Oh no. Yep. This is that character's legacy from now on. People are just gonna hate him because he's the villain of the Miles movies. Yep, that's great. Um, and I don't even blame like the writers and the animators for that or the directors. It's just public perception. People aren't smart. You know, like the fucking MCU Spider-Man movies come out, and people now think that Peter Parker's like a ooh woo like cherub who's a fanboy of all the Avengers. Like they basically think that Spider-Man's Deku now because of the MCU. I mean, Iron Man honestly gets it way worse. People think Iron Man's like a people think Iron Man is Booster Gold or like a capable what's the word? Competent. You know, people now think of Iron Man as being a competent Booster Gold because, you know, Tony Stark, and I like that take on the character. I think he's really fun. I think he's really charming, but like, it's not really Iron Man. It's not Iron Man. But we'll see how that shapes up in the next like 4 or 5 years. Oh, by the way, if you're here, drop a like just so I know that you're watching. Drop a like. Drop a like. Drop a like. Yeah, Legion of Superheroes, not Legion of Superheroes. Shadow Dimensions was like the first real like introduction that people had to Miguel. First real introduction of Spider-Man Noir 2. And I love the Spider-Verse movie, but like it's just not really Spider-Man Noir in that movie. He's more like a parody of Spider-Man Noir. That's a really good series. I'm gonna. Yeah, man, I'm gonna talk about that book at some point because it's really good. Like it's really good. I think the first volume is okay. I think volume 2, which is Eyes Without a Face, beautiful and perfect. Not perfect, but like beautiful and near perfect. Legion of Superheroes was a group show. It had Superman as a hook, but it was mostly about the Legion. That's true, but like Superman's like he's the POV character for like the first season, or from what I remember, the first season. And the show's like kind of centered around him. Who's the clone Ben Reilly in your head canon or Kane? It's just no, they just exist. That was just a weird adventure that Peter went on. In my head canon. Michael Bay's Pain and Gain movie equals Michael Bay's Captain America. Oh, is that like a good or bad thing? Has the same writers as MCU Cap, but completely taken in another direction. Well, now you're making me want to watch Pain and Gain. John Romita Sr. passing away broke my heart. Mine too. Nah, dude, that like, I don't know, like, I didn't know the man, like, personally, but like seeing John Romita Jr. like have that post on Twitter, it just like stopped me in my tracks, and I was just so blown. Like it put me in a mood. I don't know how to describe it. It wasn't like when I found out that my dad died. Like that was. Oh man, I was like, I was broken when that happened. Like, I just, like, ended up walking to the hospital where he died. I didn't even, like, take the train or I didn't take the bus or anything. I just walked there. Um, it wasn't that. Like, I know that feeling. That's a weird, numb feeling. But this is more like a shock. Like a... Like you were, like, influential on, like, in, like, my whole perception of this character that I really love. And, like, you know, it's dorky, but, like, Spider-Man did help me through a lot of really hard times as a kid, and, like, your artwork was, like, a major part of that. Your artwork's also, like, you know, it was, like, majorly influential on how I, like, started drawing and whatnot. So just, it was just bizarre. It was such a weird, numbing, bizarre feeling. It was like getting, like, punched in the chest. That's the best way I can describe it. Yeah, Romita Sr. was fantastic. And he stayed fantastic. That's the other weird thing. Like, you see a lot of artists, as they kind of get older, they shorthand their style, and it gets kind of sloppier and not as great looking. But Romita Sr. was drawing covers and doing interiors for, like, comics well into, like, the early 2010s, and it still looked just as good in, like, 2012 as it looked in, like, 1972. That was the crazy part for me. But yeah, dude, absolutely insane. For better or worse, Romita Sr.'s Spider-Man sold more and had more readers than Ditko Spider-Man. That makes sense. That really does. Yeah, Romita cleaned Spidey up for mainstream potential. Yeah. And again, I think it works. Because it also doesn't, like... It doesn't step on the toes of the Ditko era. It's building off the Ditko era. That's what I like about it so much. You know, it sets the stage for this sort of, like, explosion into the mainstream. It like the world opens up for Peter, both as a character within the Marvel Universe, as well as within the realm of mainstream readerdom. Sorry, I think I sneezed because that word was not real, and I'm allergic to bullshit. My own bullshit. Not everyone else's bullshit. I can take it. I can take bullshit. But yeah, no, like, I love that era so much. It's just so... There's something just, like, really, like... You know when you read a comic, you can tell it's really good because you're like, alright, this is issue 40. I'll just stop reading when I'm bored, and then you get to, like, issue 90, and you're like, holy shit, I'm still reading? That's what that era of Spider-Man is to me. You know? I mean, really, that's what Spider-Man in general is to me, from Ditko all the way up to the middle Conway stuff, or the beginning. Like, well, not really the middle Conway stuff. It's more like the beginning Conway stuff. I can read the beginning Conway stuff just because I, like, he's setting stuff up, but by the time he gets, like, the middle of Conway's run, you're like, okay, man, okay. Conway's really good with drama and character drama. He's really bad, or at the very least, he was really bad at superhero stuff. Like, all the superhero stuff was awful. Like, it wasn't good at all. I mean, there's some stuff here and there that was really good. You know, I think, like all the stuff with Luke Cage, trying to kill Spider-Man because, for all the public knows, Spider-Man killed Gwen Stacy. I think that stuff's really good. I think some of the stuff with Doc Ock is really good. I think some of the stuff with Like the Green Goblin is really cool. So I don't know. I there's a lot of good stuff in the Conway run. It's just not as great as I think the Stan Lee and Steve Ditko and John Romita run was, because that stuff just kind of you're reading it and you're like, oh, this is great. And it's not that it's like high art or brilliant, but it reads well. It's really fun. It's really engaging. It catches your attention, and there's also like something there. There's a message there. There is an earnest. There's a point to it, you know, like Stan Lee, Steve Ditko, and Romita. They were saying something. A lot of the later guys are like the 70s and like the early 80s. They're saying stuff too, but it's just not as punchy, I don't think. But by the time like Del Falco, by the time Del Falco gets on the book in like the 80s, that's when I think the book kind of like finds that punchiness again. Which I think is like the late 70s. Maybe late 70s, maybe early 80s. So around that time period. Plus the real world sucks. You're telling me, brother. You're telling me. John Romita Sr. had Spider-Man move forward. Yeah. 1610 Man says, Michael Bay's all-star Batman and Robin quote, "You'll believe a damaged team can clean up Gotham." Okay. Pause. T. P. Michael Bay would make a really good Batman movie. I almost said Superman movie, but no. Michael Bay would make a really good Batman movie. Get him the right script, you know, get the right, you know, screenwriter on it, but like Michael Bay doing a Batman movie would be amazing. I would absolutely love that. Marvel seriously needs to bring back some of those legends because, damn it, the current stuff isn't great. You mean in regards to like Spider-Man? Or just Marvel in general? I think Marvel in general is really good. It's just Spider-Man that sucks. Like the Jerry Duggan Iron Man book's really good. Moon Knight's really good. I'm loving the current Venom run by Ram V and Brian Hitch and Al Ewing. You know, that's been fantastic. In fact, I think, do I have it over here? Yeah, like, well, this is a Donny Cates run, but yeah, this has been really good, and it actually made me read Dark Web, which ties into a bunch of X-Men stuff that I wasn't reading, didn't care about, but like, now I'm like kind of interested in seeing what's going on there, because Madeline Pryor shows up and she's the Goblin Queen. So I'm fascinated to see what that looks like. I'm also really interested to see what Philip Kennedy Johnson does with the Hulk, because I'm loving what he's doing with Action Comics right now. Where he has that like eldritch horror kind of vibe and like transplanting it to superhero comics with Superman. He's not making the Superman book like a horror book, but there are like it's got horror vibes. You know, that's the best way I can describe it. He's pulling from like a really like biblical, epic, mythological place for that, and I'm very interested to see what he does with the Hulk in that regard. So I'm very excited to see where that goes. Al Ewing also did a miniseries for the Wasp, which I haven't read yet, but I'm excited to, because I love the miniseries that he did for Ant-Man. That was a really wonderful celebration of that character. So yeah, no, like there's a lot of cool stuff coming out at Marvel right now. It's just, I don't know what to tell you. Spider-Man sucks, but it's gonna be like that, you know. Sometimes Spider-Man sucks for like 2-3 years. Sometimes Spider-Man sucks for 5 years. Sometimes Spider-Man sucks for 10 years. But just because Spider-Man sucks, it doesn't mean the whole Marvel Universe sucks. That's kind of like, I may have mistitled that video. I mean, it's excellent clickbait, but like, I don't believe that if I don't believe if Spider-Man's broken, the Marvel Universe is broken. I guess what I mean when I say that is that if Spider-Man's not doing well, for me personally, I'm not nearly as interested in checking out the rest of the Marvel Universe because Spider-Man is my anchor to the Marvel Universe. But that doesn't mean that the other books that are coming out in the publishing line are bad. It just means that like the book I really like is bad. But yeah, just because Spider-Man sucks doesn't mean the Fantastic Four sucks. In fact, I've read the first like 2 or 3 issues of that run. I thought it was pretty fun, and apparently it's really good. Apparently it's just really good Fantastic Four comics, and Ryan North's just knocking it out of the park. So I guess I'll have to check that out now. Is Clobbering Time also apparently is a lot of fun. So there's a lot of really good books coming out of Marvel. I just have to I just have to get over my whole Spider-Man sucks. Yeah, it's all ruined. I just gotta get over that. Once I get over that, things will be good. With the exception of Daredevil. Daredevil's great. I mean, yeah, but Daredevil's always great. That's like the weird. It's like that's cheating. That's cheating. Saying that Daredevil's great is like cheating. That's like saying Olive Garden sucks, but the breadsticks are amazing. They're breadsticks. The Olive Garden breadsticks are always going to be amazing, no matter the Olive Garden you go to. If you go to a really crappy Olive Garden, the breadsticks are going to be just as good as the breadsticks at a really high-end Olive Garden. Olive Garden breadsticks are just good. They're just good. They're a constant. Daredevil's a constant. Daredevil's always good. You're never going to have a bad Daredevil run. Fuck, I jinxed it. Oh, no. Okay, knock on wood. Knock on wood. Knock on wood. Paper's kind of wood, I guess. Fuck. I just jinxed it. If the next Daredevil run's bad, you can blame me. God damn it. No. Michael Bay's Legion of Superheroes. Plot. Future group of edgy teens who just wanted to get laid but must save the world from time-traveling intergalactic terrorist cell from destroying America, bro. I know you said that as like a joke. I know you said that as a joke. It's actually not bad, though. It's actually not a bad pitch. I hate you for that, because that's actually pretty funny. Like a stoner comedy, like a raunchy stoner comedy, but like also high-end action, like high-octane action superhero stoner comedy movie. Yeah, that'd be great. That'd be really funny, actually. I'd be down for that. Wally West is my favorite Flash too. My man. My man. What about Studio Trigger? Oh yeah, that way you have like needless panty shots of Lois Lane. Actually, you know what? Yeah, Studio Trigger should do a Superman show. I'd be down for that. Only if they have Lois walking around and Jimmy's also like taking her clothes because Jimmy wears drag. Yeah, that's right. We're gonna adapt ambiguously gay, maybe potentially Jimmy Olsen from All Star Superman. I'd be down for that. They dropped the ball with the All Star Superman movie. They just didn't. That movie just came out at the wrong time. I feel like if that movie got made nowadays, which it never would be because that's Dwayne McDuffie's last major project, and no one's gonna have the balls to try to redo it. But if it was made now, you would definitely have cross-dressing Jimmy Olsen. You would have Jimmy Olsen in drag, just like he is in that comic. It happened. It would definitely happen. DCAU Wally West, adult Bart Allen personality for comic relief of the Justice League team. Yeah, I mean it is a take. It's not my preferred take, but it is a take, and you know DCAU Wally West is basically just DCEU Barry Allen. Question: how do you feel about the Justice League Ruby animated movies? I didn't watch them because I don't care about Ruby, honestly. I still want a Super Sons show. Yeah, that's like money on the table. I don't know why DC doesn't greenlight that. Dude, so many people will be down for that. I'd be down for that, and I think John Kent's a weird like continuity abomination, but like I would be so down for a Super Sons TV show. Maybe one that spins out of Young Justice. Who knows? I think it'd be really cool. Using manga model for comic book animated shows equals just make motion comics. No. That's not what I mean. Okay, so when I say that, I mean like, okay, so prime example, right? Daredevil by Frank Miller and Klaus Janson, right? Okay, so this is 3 trades, technically 5 trades if you count Man Without Fear and Daredevil Born Again. But yeah, this is what 151 through 191. That's 6 issues. 219, 7 issues. Daredevil Love and War, 8 issues. Alright, so 8 issues in this one. Volume 2 has 173 to 184. Alright, so that is 11 issues. 8 plus 11. I'm bad at math. 19? Yeah, 19. Alright, 19 issues. Peter Parker's back for Spider-Man. 27, 28. So that's 2 issues. 21. 58. 59, 60, 61, so 25, 63, 72, that's 9 issues, so that's like 36 issues worth of content. And Born Again is, I think, 6 issues, and then Man Without Fear is like 4, so that's like a solid. It's like a solid like 3 seasons worth of a show right there. Just you can do that whole run. There is a solid beginning, middle, and end to that whole series, and it's all right here. It's all right here. Like I don't like you can like in animation you can just straight up just adapt the thing and. One of the cool things about animation is you don't have to worry about something looking goofy in live action. Like, you can do the Sewer King from this run. Is Sewer King in Volume 3? I don't think so. It might be a Volume 2 thing, because that's when Kingpin first shows back up. But you can adapt Sewer King in animation, and it's not going to look weird. People aren't going to, like, you know, that looks stupid, because in live action, no, it's Sewer King. And it looks dope, and intimidating, and creepy, and weird. So like, I don't know, man. It's just I think you can do these things in animation. I think you can actually like just take comic book runs, just like take completed comic book runs in isolation, and just adapt them to animation. for like a serialized medium. I really do think you can do that, and I think it could work. You could do that for Mark Waid's Flash. You know, you could do that for Jeff Johns' run on the Flash. You could do that with I'm looking at my bookshelf to see like what we have over there, but that's like mostly just like independents. Right, let me look at the bookshelf. What do I got? Oh yeah, you can adapt the Marv Wolfman, George Perez, New Teen Titans run in animation, just like straight up. You could also do the Kurt Busiek and George Perez run on the Avengers, straight up. I don't know. So that's where my mind is at. I think you could just straight up adapt a lot of these characters. Just like anime will just straight up adapt whole runs of a manga, and that's just me. That's just me. I mean, I'm excited for like shows like My Adventures with Superman. You know, I'm excited for the upcoming like Creature Commandos TV show. I'm excited for inevitably when Disney makes a decent Spider-Man series that I'm sure is going to have a lot of its own personal flair to it. But yeah, no, I'm sure these things are going to be really good. It's just I think you can just get away with straight up adapting the comics beat for beat. I think you can. It works for manga. And again, Invincible more or less did this. So I don't know why Marvel or DC don't. I don't get that, but what do I know? What do I know? I'm just some beanie. I'm just some beanie. Give me a Studio Bones Flash show. Oh my god. Oh, wait, Studio Bones, did they do Space Dandy? No, oh no, they did Full Metal Alchemist. That's a really good choice too. Who did Space Dandy? Studio Bones. Then yeah, no, Studio Bones would make an amazing Flash show. Oh my god, you have no. I mean, you have some idea. You brought it up, but like, yo, god, that'd be. I brought it up. I put it out into the world, and I can't have it. Why have I done this to myself? Oh, I'm so stupid. Studio Bones would make a banger Flash show. Let's see. I played Edge of Time, and I thought they did Miguel pretty good. Yeah. I mean, Peter David wrote it, so like it's Miguel O'Hara is Peter David's character, so I assume he's gonna write his character very well. Spider 2099 in Shattered Dimensions equals the 2099 AD version, not the OG 2099 version AD. Is that like the... I don't know what that means. I heard someone say that like the version of 2099 that we see in Shattered Dimensions is the Exiles version that Claremont wrote, because Claremont forgot that Miguel O'Hara wasn't just Peter Parker. I have not read Cliff Claremont's Exiles, so I can't speak to that, but that's... somebody on the internet said it, so it has to be true. The internet wouldn't lie to me. Miguel did nothing wrong. Based. Virgin Puerto Rican versus the Chad Mexican. That meme's hilarious. I love that. Speaking of bad adaptations, remember the 2020 Birds of Prey film? Jesus Christ, yes I do. And how they adapted Cass? Remember how much that version sucked? That is like the one time Cassandra Cain's been adapted to another medium too. The first time Yep. Feels good. Feels really good. Um, Iron Man isn't Booster Gold. Well, I know Iron Man's not Booster Gold, but like MCU Iron Man is like a competent Booster Gold. That's what I'm saying. Good news is we got an accurate Cassandra Cain and Young Justice, which was fantastic. That's true. That's true. They adapted the weird orphan crap, but I don't like that. I much prefer when she's Batgirl, but that it's fine. It's fine. It is what it is. 1610 Man says too many different versions of characters and universes for casuals and fans. LOL. Well, I mean that's what I'm saying. Just adapt runs. You know, if you get the runs right, well then you know the rest of the experience will be smooth and it'll flow. Just get the runs right, and everything will flow. But yeah, no, like that's something. Just adapt specific eras, like the Byrne era. You know, I guess that'd piss off like the Twitter Superman fandom, but like John Byrne's run on Superman, you can adapt that very well, and then you can lead that into a Superman exiled animated movie, which would be really cool. And then DC might potentially put Superman Exiled back in print. That'd be nice. I would like if they did that. Or it's already designed for adaptation, so just take the Jeff Johns run on Action Comics and just make that a whole series in and of itself. It's perfect. I think you could get away with that. There's a lot of stuff in like 80s with Batman that you can straight up adapt to. So you know, I'm a big proponent of just straight up adapting these characters in these books authentically. Manga does it very well. I think you can do it with all these other characters too. You can just straight up adapt the Grant Morrison Howard Porter run on JLA. I don't know why no one's thought to do that. I mean, there's some continuity stuff here and there because, like, I think Diana's mother replaces her as Wonder Woman at one point in time. And there's also a whole thing where, you know, you have the Electric Blue Superman thing, but honestly, I think it'd be just funny if season 1 ends with the Hyper Clan being dealt with, and then season 2 opens up with Superman he's blue and electric. Why is he blue and electric? Shut up. He just comics, superhero stuff happens sometimes. Now I'm blue and electric, and we're just not gonna explain why. And then he just stops being blue and electric off screen. It'd be hilarious. It'd be great. You know, and you can get away with doing that in animation. You can't get away with doing that in live action because we expect weird. No, everything has to fit and blah blah blah. Because in the real world, everything fits. But like in animation, you can just make a side joke like, "Yeah, well, I got better." You know, weren't you your mom for like a couple weeks? Yeah, time travel. Anyways, I'm caught up. So what's going on? Just I don't know. This is where I think that the Spider-Verse movies get away with that really well. They do things that you can only do in animation that if you tried to do it in live action, people would cry foul. Like the whole Spider-Woman fighting while pregnant thing. That's something that I think works really well in animation, but if you tried to adapt that to live action, people would have more of a problem with it. Or just Peter swinging around the multiverse with his baby. You can get away with that in live action. No. You can get I'm gonna say that again. You can get away with that in animation. You cannot get away with that in live action. So that's where animation, I think, kind of had the leg up on superhero media already. There's this question: any opinion on the Ultimate Marvel Universe returning? Because for me personally, in my opinion, I'm very interested in the reboot. I am... Okay, so when it first got announced that the Ultimate Universe was going to come back, like officially, they're going to do a whole event, and they're going to have a whole Ultimate imprint like they used to when that comes out in November. I regret to inform you that my immediate reaction was, oh dear God, they're going to fuck it up. Like, my immediate reaction was, no, they're going to break it. No, they're going to break it. That was my first reaction. And then I talked about it with some of my friends, and, I talked about this with Jack Genocide, and Jack Genocide was like, yeah, they already broke it. Ultimatum happened, and it already broke. But I guess when I say they're gonna break it, my big fear with the Ultimate Universe coming back is I don't trust the current creatives working at Marvel Comics to get the joke. Because that's the ultimate thing. Because that's the major thing with the Ultimate Universe. The Ultimate Universe is largely couched in parody and satire. Like, that's... Captain America's a big meanie pie jerk because he's from the 1940s and he's racist and he's sexist and he doesn't understand modern women and how to talk to people and modern conventions. And it's like, yeah, that's the joke. Bruce Banner, when he turns into the Hulk, he's so cringe. Yeah, that's the joke. The Hulk is Bruce Banner's id, so like everything that he's like bottling up just comes out. That's the whole. The Ultimates, they're not even really heroes. They're just a bunch of celebrities, and like they get toy deals. Nick Fury, when he's in the hospital when Janet Van Dyne got beat up by Hank, his primary concern is the toy deal for Giant Man because he can't sell a wife beater. So yeah, that's the part of the joke. It's the gag. That was the punchline. I don't trust a lot of the people working at Marvel Comics to get the joke. That's my big fear. That's my big fear with the Ultimate Universe moving forward. I'm also just kind of worried because the way in which political commentary is handled, not just in Marvel, but this is like a problem I see across the board now. The subtlety and nuance of a napalm enema, a lot of modern writers have. Not all of them. There are definitely a lot of writers that I think would work really well in the Ultimate Universe. I think I definitely think Ram V could do something very interesting in the Ultimate Universe. I think Donny Cates. I don't think Donny Cates is actually working for Marvel anymore, but like Donny Cates, if he ever chose to go back to Marvel, I could totally see him doing something really interesting in the Ultimate Universe. Al Ewing, I could potentially see doing some cool stuff in the Ultimate Universe. But like, yeah, man, like outside of that, like maybe Christopher Cantwell. Overall though, I just don't trust a lot of the current creators at Marvel with the Ultimate Universe. I just don't trust them with it. Now it could just turn out really fucking amazing. It really could, but for the time being, I'm afraid. But that's just because I hold the Ultimate Universe in like such high regard, and I hold it close to my heart. It's precious. For the longest time growing up, it was my Marvel Universe, so I'm worried. I'm worried that they might just puppeteer my Marvel, like just take the corpse and just like puppeteer it, like Warner Brothers puppeteering Christopher Reeve's corpse for the Flash movie, apparently, which was weird and funny because people are up in arms about this, but like, y'all didn't peep that this was gonna happen once Disney unearthed Peter Cushing's corpse digitally and threw him in Star Wars Rogue One. You honestly watched that movie and you didn't think that this was bound to happen. This was bound to happen. I'm like 90% sure we're also gonna get like, you know, more AI performances from like deceased celebrities such as Elvis in concerts. They were already doing that with like Tupac. They did that with Tupac. That was very weird. And Michael Jackson with the hologram. So like, this stuff was already being done. I mean, it's weird and it's uncomfortable, but baby, stop reacting like we're headed to a cyberpunk dystopia. We're already here. I'm not saying you gotta be like okay with it, but like just recognize we're here. Supreme says, also one bad adaptations. Have you seen the CW Gotham Knight show? Jesus, no, I haven't. They adapted Steph and turned her into a rich girl who isn't even a vigilante. Nope. No. 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 I wasn't watching it, and I'm glad I didn't watch it. I don't have to watch it. It doesn't exist. Ultimate Marvel reboot is just an MCU clone. That's my big fear. I can totally see the new Ultimate Universe just being the MCU with cringeoid, like not well thought through political commentary. I could totally see it just being that. Bless you. Oh, thanks for when I sneezed earlier. And Gesundheit. Thank you guys. Thanks Arcus. Thanks Tevya. Jumping. No, I scrolled. John Romita Jr. Superhero stuff isn't great, but Superman book is so bad and garbage. Yeah, I don't know what it was about Romita Jr. style. Like people, I've heard a lot of people say that like, well, he just got older, so his style changed. It's like, no, there are a lot of artists that are like pretty up there in age they're still really good, you know. I don't know what Romita Jr.'s doing. I think Romita Jr.'s peak style, like when his artwork was perfect, was the late 80s and early 90s. Like around that like kind of black suit Spider-Man era. Well, that's mid 80s, but like, you know, around that Armor Wars 2 era, where he like Tony's fighting the living laser and all that. He has like the Model 10 armor. Dude, I used to know this stuff off the top of my head. Now I'm just damn. But yeah, I think mid to late 80s, early 90s Romita Jr. is like peak Romita Jr. Venom is so confusing in my opinion. I mean, that's like very timey-wimey, but like I don't think it's all that confusing. I think it just kind of, you just have to like read it really intensely. But I do love how the whole thing just kind of collapses in on itself. and tells one coherent time travel story, which is very hard to do. But the current Venom book, I think, does it really well. It makes it look easy, honestly. Michael Bay's Gotham Knights. All right, let's see where this goes, because that game is everything but a Michael Bay movie. So, plot: Wayne employee working class Americans who just want to get back home to their family and lives, but put on Bat cosplay and fights their way through a Gotham prison break. There's like kind of a Batman story that is about that. I can't remember the name of it, but it is an early 2000s story where Batman falls out of the sky and onto the ground. He experiences major blunt force trauma, but he's like, no, I'm Batman. I gotta finish my patrol. I gotta finish today. And he's out of shape. He looks terrible. He's just like walking through the city streets and he's beating people up, and it's not graceful at all. And then he ultimately winds up in a situation where he's about to die. But then the real Batman shows up, and you find out that the fake Batman that we've been following is actually just some husband who was supposed to be entertaining the wife with a little bit of Batman cosplay to spice things up a little bit. Keep it spicy. And he fell off the roof of he and his wife's apartment, and he thought that he was Batman because he suffered a major concussion. So that happened. If we're gonna be all Joss Whedon-y about it, that is a Batman story that exists, and I love it. I think it's great. Recently I bought the Marvel Knights Spider-Man trade. What's your opinion on that book? I loved it. Well, I loved it when I first read it, and then I loved it while the Dan Slott run was coming out, and then I loved it when I read it again after Zeb Wells started doing whatever Zeb Wells was trying to do on that the current Amazing Spider-Man book. So I haven't really read this series without feeling the need to like wash the taste out of my mouth of current Spider-Man. So I feel like any kind of review I give is going to be completely impartial. But I really like the Mark Miller Spider-Man book with Terry and Rachel Dodson doing the art. I think it's fantastic. It really makes me wish that Mark Miller got a chance to write a whole Spider-Man run. I really wish we got to see that, because Mark has the perfect voice for Peter Parker. He has the perfect voice for Spider-Man's supporting cast as a whole. He really gets the world of Spider-Man. He gets that Spider-Man is, for lack of a better phrase, a bug on the wall in a world of all these grand cosmic super celebrities and super gods. Like, compared to the Avengers, Spider-Man is just some random schlub on the street. You know, compared to the Fantastic Four, Spider-Man is just some weird dork who shows up on the windshield and is like, "Hey, pull over! You stole the car." Oh, wait, no, wrong car. My bad. Like he's not graceful. He's just a guy trying his hardest, and I think Mark Miller got that. Yeah, really good run. Really underrated. It's also hilarious to think that there was a time period where I don't want to get too spoilery, but there is a point where Mary Jane Watson does something, and it was considered to be very controversial at the time. And given how MJ is basically just Diet Lois Lane now, it's just funny that was ever a controversy in the first place. It's just really funny. Tebby says, true, the Fantastic Four books actually did the whole mystery box 10 times better than Amazing Spider-Man. Um, really? Okay. Well, then I'm definitely gonna have to check out Fantastic Four. I just didn't get it because like Ryan North. I'm not a big Ryan North guy. I don't hate him. It just his work just generally isn't for me. But I'm hearing this current Fantastic Four book is really good, so I'm gonna check it out. Supreme says on 60s Marvel, Spider-Man is lucky to have survived Ditko's departure with the arrival of Ramita because Fantastic Four suffered greatly when Kirby left. Yes, that's like that's the big thing when an artist leaves. I think we get so hung up on the writer in talking about comics now that we've forgotten how important the artist is. An artist leaving a book can break that title. I know for a fact there were a lot of people who they ended up dropping Chip Zdarsky's run on Batman because Mike Hawthorne took over, and I don't think a lot of the people who did leave the book have anything against Mike Hawthorne. It's just Jorge Jimenez sells Batman, and not having Jorge Jimenez on a Batman book is just, you know, it I get why they let him have some time to breathe, but did not do great for sales. I mean, it's still Batman, so Batman, it's not hurting, but like, it's, I don't know. I noticed a lot more people were buying that book when Jimenez was doing the art. And I know it's a lot less people buying that book when Hawthorne was doing the art. And I love Mike Hawthorne. He's a really cool guy. I also met him at Baltimore Comic-Con. But yeah, he is not Jorge Jimenez. They're both great respectively, but just it's that thing where like I'm trying to think of a good example. Say Brian Hitch is doing a book, and then the editors are like, all right, Brian Hitch needs some time off, so we're going to get Cafu, because they both do sort of photorealistic style art for characters. I mean, they kind of do, but like their styles are very different, respectively. Brian Hitch is very unafraid to be unflattering, whereas Cafu, his art style is very clean. Everything's very pristine. So like they're just two very different things. But I can totally see an editor just going like, nope, similar enough. Boom. I forgot what the fuck I was talking about here, but I think it had to do. Fantastic Four. Yeah, although that's kind of the thing. Like, Fantastic Four was like Kirby's baby. Like that was his big thing. Spider-Man less so for Steve Ditko. Like Steve Ditko still had other things he was working on. Technically, Daredevil isn't perfect either. He did have a bunch of bad stories with him. For example, Shadowland. We don't talk about Shadowland, but like outside of Shadowland, name a bad Daredevil book. I bet you can't. I bet you can't. I agree. Superman show spinning out Young Justice would be fantastic. I mean, that's how you keep Young Justice alive too. I'm surprised that Marvel hasn't done more animated movies similar to Across the Spider-Verse, because frankly DC had done good animated movies for a decade and then Marvel just gave up. Yeah, and then it's weird, some of the animated stuff that Marvel was doing I think is actually better than some of the stuff that DC is doing. Like I absolutely adore that Hulk versus Iron Man movie. Not Hulk versus Iron Man. Hulk versus Thor and Hulk versus Wolverine. Those two animated movies are magnifico. Um, but yeah, bro. Like I don't know why Marvel just kind of gave up. Like they were doing really good. Maybe it was a sales problem. Maybe that's literally all it was. Maybe it was just those animated movies just weren't making enough money, and Marvel was like, no, we can't do this. Supreme says on Omega, on Kamala, my pitch as dark and angsty as a Linkin Park album, Evangelion, Marshall Mathers, Bendis, Daredevil, Korn, 90s Robin. For her supporting cast, they would suffer deaths and mental breakdowns. Yeah. Miss Marvel got her nudes leaked this week on a very special episode of Degrassi: The Next Generation. Oh man. Actually, that's like half a joke too. There actually is there's an arc in Miss Marvel where like a girl gets her nudes leaked. It's actually, I remember it being handled very well, but I say that about a lot of things, and then I go back and I'm like, oh, this is actually trash. But I remember it being handled very well. That's all I can say. Studio Bones did My Hero Academia. That's true. Michael Bay's Super Sons plot equals edgy teens must prove themselves to legendary father figures, living off of their hype and trying to get laid, but having to save the city from the Legion of Doom. That's funny. You keep pitching all these great ideas. I'm just gonna steal them. I'm just gonna steal them at a certain point. Like, this is my idea now. Yep. No one will believe you. No, I'm kidding. But you know, that's a really good idea. Why don't you work as an editor for Marvel and DC? I mean, God knows they need them. They don't need to hire them because paying people to do a job is like, it's so mean and bad. But actually though, Michael Bay Spider-Man plot is just some nerd who wanted to be a jock, gets laid, but gets superpowers and has to learn responsibility. Grow up and become a man and save his local corrupt neighborhood of Queens. Again, that sounds like a really, actually, legitimately good pitch. It does. Super Omega says, on writing villains, tips on how to create good, compelling villains. Yes. Do not be afraid to go full evil. Like, sometimes there are characters who are just spiteful. And they're just full of rage and anger, and sometimes that just comes in the form of there are a lot of villains that kind of lack that energy now because everyone wants to play up the whole thing where like, oh no, bad guys are just good guys from their own perspective, and it's like, yeah, kind of, but no, there's actually, I don't know, there is there's more to it than that, I think. Oh, good night, Tevya. I should get into business and become an executive producer with these pitches. I mean, yeah, they're really good pitches. I miss 2000's Ultimate Marvel. Dude, me too. Oh my god. Not even just Ultimate Marvel, just Marvel in general in the 2000s was on a different plane of existence. When you had like Marvel Max, you had the Marvel Knights imprint. Yeah, JMS is doing Spider-Man with Romita. Bendis is doing Daredevil with Alex Maleev. Oh man, Kurt Busiek and George Perez are like winding down their run of the Avengers. Yeah, bro. Like the 2000s was just really good for Marvel. It was a really good time for Marvel Comics. Um, Marvel presents What If Ultimate. Marvel never ended. Uh, yeah. There's a way to do it. I just don't. I'm not interested to see how it might turn out. Um, uh, the High Evolutionary. On the Guardians of the Monster. Yes, he was, and that's why I thought he was very refreshing as a villain. Same thing with the Spot in Spider-Verse 2. Like, sometimes it's just cool to have a bad guy just revel in the fact that they're a bad guy and just go like, fuck it, I'm evil. You might have the power of friendship, but I am the devil from the Bible. So like, yeah, poof. I that energy needs to come back to supervillains, I think. Because God, I miss when supervillains were just straight up haters, just haters, hating on a man for his success. I miss that. Marvel and DC was the peak house of ideas in the 2000s. Dude, absolutely. There's so much good stuff that came out in the early 2000s for DC. I'm really glad that DC is starting to reprint a lot of that stuff. Marvel had a lot of that stuff already in print, but that's just because up until the New 52, I think, DC was relatively just dog shit at putting out trades, whereas Marvel was like, 6 issues, done. Boom, trade, 3 months, here. It took DC a while to learn how to put their books in trade. But I do think like necessity of capitalism and like economic culture forced them to change. All right, last one before I actually sign off because I'm tired and I have to wake up super early to get to work tomorrow. On my pitch for Kamala on her supporting cast, I would have her dad die of a disease. Bruno died. Jesus Christ, what's wrong with... Why do you hate Bruno? Bruno dies and starts to hate Kamala due to her Miss Marvel life, and Zoe slits her wrists. Bro, it's Miss Marvel. It's Miss Marvel. Not Euphoria. Miss Marvel. I mean, I do think it'd be interesting to see some of that happen, though. Just, like, not all at once. Arcus says, nowadays, everyone wants to make another Mr. Freeze from Batman the Animated Series. Yeah, I don't think all villains need to be super sympathetic. I like when some supervillains are just bad people. I love that shit. I love how I think it was Jerry Duggan who retconned that Mr. Freeze used to emotionally and even sometimes it's alluded to physically assault Nora because he's always worried that she was gonna like leave him or take his money, or you know that maybe he wasn't enough for her, but like intellectually she's not enough for him. There's a lot of really interesting stuff going on there. I love that they just kind of made Victor a crazy asshole again. I really do miss that. But yeah, I love the dude, I absolutely fucking love the One Bad Day series by Jerry Duggan. That was really fun. Supreme says, I admit growing up I always preferred the darker takes on teen life, such as Kids, Skins, and early seasons of Degrassi, aka the Drake era. I haven't seen Skins, but I did start watching Kids, also known as just the AIDS movie. Everyone has AIDS. These kids are doing AIDS. But yeah, I think a lot of that stuff's like really kind of you can do a lot with like superhero teens and exploring like really uncomfortable subject matter. It just I think you need the right person to do it. Um, and I think for the large part, Marv Wolfman and George Perez did a really good job with New Teen Titans back in the 80s. But yeah, I am going to leave it at that, and I'm going to go to bed and actually get sleep this time because I got 3 hours of sleep today, or I guess yesterday. Thanks for coming by, guys. It was really fun to chat comics. I actually didn't show you guys the comics I picked out this week. Not a lot, really. Just because my comic storage doesn't have DC or and like the Marvel that it does have, I'm just not reading right now in single issues. But I picked up The Wildstorm. This is by Warren Ellis and John Davis Hunt. This is a book that I felt intimidated by when it first came out because I love Warren Ellis as a writer, but I just didn't feel anything for it, and I felt like this was to the original Wildstorm what the Ultimate Universe was to the Marvel Universe. I love the Ultimate Universe because I love comparing how different it is to the mainstream Marvel Universe. And like looking at the weird, hard sci-fi, or just like hard horror, or like hard left turns into whatever genre that character was kind of inspired by, and comparing it to like the traditional version. I felt like that with this. I felt like this was the hard left turn science fiction political version of the Wildstorm universe, and I just felt like I wasn't really going to appreciate it fully because I didn't really have a context for the original Wildstorm universe. But now that I've read some of the Stormwatch material from the 90s, now that I've read The Authority, like I said, now that I've read Planetary, I'm very fascinated going back and reading this. This is really interesting. This definitely does feel like the Ultimate Universe version of the original Wildstorm universe, and I'm having a lot of fun reading it so far. I think I'm on like issue 3 of the series. So yeah, I'm very excited to see where this goes. I know Midnight and Apollo show up eventually in that series, but I don't know when. Yeah, really cool. And I also picked up Venom, the Absolute Carnage tie-in issues, which kind of sucks now that I have to read Absolute Carnage. It's just like a really annoying thing, because that Donny Cates Venom run, it just ties into every event that's coming out at the time period. Like, I had to read like a War of the Realms Venom arc, and I was just like, dog, I don't care. But it's written well, so whatever. But let's see. Yeah, Ultimate Wildstorm is really cool. You should read Venom the Hunger. Let's see. I think I have read this years ago, but like I've definitely read this. But if you're telling me to like reread it, yeah, I'll definitely reread it because that's like something I read like when I was like 10. I read that in preparation for like Spider-Man 3. Along with like a bunch of other Venom comics that quite frankly probably weren't great, but I loved because I thought they were really fun and really cool. But alright, now I'm going to call it one. thanks for showing up, guys. And I am going to see you in the next one. So, as always, thanks for watching. And until next time, adios, nachos. Adios. Good night.